Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen are the pairs we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you stay to the end of the video because I do have a bonus pair in store. But yeah, guys, didn't take any trades this week. I was quite fixated on the yen pairs, looking for some counter trend moves back down. But as we can all see, the yen pairs were very bullish this week. Consistent weakness in the yen pretty much throughout the week. Higher highs and higher lows consistent on the 4H hourly time frames, which is where I'm looking for my opportunity. So nothing really set up for me to actually take any entries as they continue high. I'm still looking for those counter trend moves, but nothing really for me this week. There were some other pairs as well I was looking at, but nothing shaped up. But going to next week, there are some good opportunities. If you do want to see my watch list, check it out in my Telegram, which we linked in the description below. I do post my top 5 setups there every week. But starting things off with Euro USD, as always, this one probably won't make the watch list, a bit of a spoiler there, but I'm not really a big fan of the price action for Euro. I'm just seeing this as kind of a big range, similar to the DXY as well. I don't think I don't think this is really the best conditions I can spot in the markets. I can see a lot better conditions elsewhere, and that's kind of where my focus will be, which again you'll see in my watch list. But Euro USD is kind of back and forth, rejecting the highs, rejecting the lows, bit of a fake out there to the upside, but overall Euro hasn't really done much. So for me to be interested in Euro USD, I want price trading near the highs there so I can look for sales back down again. Only these lows here so I can look for some reversals back up again. That's kind of where I want to find my opportunities for Euro right now, in the middle of it. Not really where I want to be positioning myself going forward with Euro USD. Not that we can't see a move to the downside, and actually I do hope we do make that move lower, because then it can present some nice buys sooner or later back down at 1.07, and hopefully that's the trade I'll be looking to take. But at the moment, Euro not really in any area of value. There is a nice kind of bearish structure building up, impulse correction, hopefully another impulse to the downside. So I can see some potential short opportunities on the retest of 1.091. That does look fairly interesting, but because of where we are, not really at any area of value, kind of near enough the middle of the range as well. It's not the best location for me to be looking for trades. And like I said, I do think I can find better opportunities elsewhere. So Euro USD doesn't quite make it to my watch list, but I do like what I'm seeing in terms of this bearish structure. I'm hoping we can continue with this bearish structure back down to 1.07056. And this is the area I'll be interested for the buys, which is something that if we do make happen, I will be interested to get involved with Euro. But right now, I'm not really liking where we're set up coming into this area, but keep an eye on the retest of that level. There could be some nice intraday opportunities on the retest of 1.0912. Trying to look for the next little high. We've got one over there. Second, trying to look for the third. And again, another swing to the downside. Didn't necessarily have to swing all the way to the daily lows there. You got some lows here you can target, or even that low if you want to look for a bit more just an intraday move in and out on the same day. That could be a nice opportunity there for Euro. So it's up to you how far you want to push the trade, but still looking to play with this bearish structure, still seeing some nice momentum. Hopefully we can see this structure continue back down to the lows for some bigger buys. But if you are looking to take advantage of that move, keep an eye on the retest of 1.09102. And then yeah, hopefully you can find some sales within the week, but that will be the plan next week for Euro USD. Okay, so on to dollar yen. So dollar yen this week was one of the yen pairs I was looking to short, but I was waiting to see if price could break through 145. We didn't do that. As you can see, the market remained in this bullish structure. I was looking for us to form some lower lows and lower highs below that level, and that's when I looked to take my short positions, but we didn't see that happen. Higher low form, market continued higher. So I'm looking for price to get back to 150. We're not too far away. There could be some shorter term buy opportunities if we were to see a pullback. We do have this 4H high here, which didn't see a retest. So maybe the market spends this first week being bearish, having a pullback, then continue being bullish. What I'm looking for is for price to get to 150, and then I'll be looking for some shorting opportunities to short price back down again. This is a big level of resistance, a big psychological level as well. As you can see previously, the last two times we were at these prices, really heavy reactions to the downside. So I'm looking to see if we can repeat that for a third time. Of course, waiting for price to develop confirmation. I'm not looking to short. As soon as we get there, I need to see some low lows and low highs first. before that does interest me. But before that, there may be a pullback. It's a little bit of a stretch because we already had such a strong impulsive leg. I'm not too sure if we'll see such a pullback back into this area. But if you are looking for some longs, 146 250 makes the most sense for me. Back to 150, then potentially some sells right back down again. So that's kind of how I'm looking to play dollar yen next week. Everything's still looking pretty bullish. We're coming to a big level 150. That's where I'll start be looking for my selling opportunities. But in the meantime, there could be some short-term buys or short medium-term buys. Still looking at about 200 300 pip move back to the high if you do see that pullback. So yeah, there is a lot of pips there for dollar yen potentially to catch. So keep an eye out on some buys for dollar yen at 146 250, then some sells from 150 later on. Okay, so on to dollar CAD. So dollar CAD, as we can see, still in this big range. I've been talking about this area over here as a potential area could see a bearish reaction and a move back down into the low of the range, near enough 1.325. We have come into this area this week and seen a really nice reaction. So I'm anticipating more downside for dollar CAD. Again, not the best conditions in the world because this is still a higher time frame in the middle of a higher time frame range. It was nice if the higher time frames are trending down and we're looking to take advantage of a swing in that direction, but we're not. So we can expect a bit more choppiness in these conditions, but essentially we've reacted very aggressively from that area. I'll be expecting to see some pullbacks, and as long as we don't break back above the high there on the left, I'm looking for lower highs back into 1.325, which again is the low of the range. So if we do start taking out this high, then I probably would just back away completely from dollar CAD. Reason being is because if we're doing that, the bullish structure is still continuing higher, and we could actually be seeing a bigger move to the upside, potentially back to resistance up here, maybe even the high of the range up there as well, because again, we are just fluctuating between the high and the low. So what's stopping us, making another move back to the highs up there? Not much. This is a nice area of supply where we've seen a lot of bearish momentum come in the past, but we could still break through and go a lot higher and just kind of continue the range. So if we are breaking through the high there, I'll kind of just leave price alone. But if we're going to maintain this bearish momentum, see some pullbacks, maybe retest that area, that would be a nice place to look for some shorts on the lower time frames for dollar CAD, and again a push back down to 1.325, which is where I've got the low of the consolidation. I'm kind of looking at these wicks down here as a bit of a fake out. We can see a strong reaction there, another strong reaction, and again a strong reaction not too long ago. So that is kind of the move I'm looking for dollar CAD next week. Just looking to play the next bearish swing from this move, pull back, look for the next impulse, back down into the lows. So that's the plan next week for dollar CAD. Okay, so on to euro pound. So euro pound still a very choppy, messy pair. I don't really like the price action here for euro pound, so I will not be focusing on it next week. But as you can see, the overall direction isn't really clear. It's kind of just sideways, and the higher time frames don't really have a clear direction to it. So for those reasons, I won't be focusing on euro pound next week. But if you are looking at trading it, you just want to be focusing on the big levels of support and resistance. This low here, this high, do have a nice kind of mid level in there around 0.66. That could be a nice place to catch a lower high if the market's going to keep up with these lower highs here. Could be seeing a third one, another move back down. Likewise, you could be seeing a move back up from this area here as well. Really strong support, a lot of friction there, but again, strong support of recent times as well. So with euro pound, you're looking just buying low, selling high. That's the best way to approach a market like this, because if you're trying to get involved in the middle of things, it's going to be very difficult. A lot of chaotic moves, sporadic moves, which are difficult to kind of foresee, and you risk getting stopped out multiple times when it's unnecessary to do so. So if you're looking for some euro pound opportunities, I'll be looking for some signs of reversal at these levels here, 0.857. If we're starting to form some equal lows, markets starting to break higher, break and retest, then that could be a nice place to get long. And targets could be looking at 0.866, a nice level there, could come back and retest. Of course, you can look at some highs here as well. It's up to you how far you want to push the trade. I would suggest though, be a bit more conservative if you take profits. Don't try and go for the home run in these conditions, because it's just very difficult. A lot of back and forth movements. You could be sitting in some comfortable profit, and then suddenly a random move back down takes you out at break even, and then price moves in your favor. So in these conditions, you're going to see a lot more of those chaotic moves. So you want to be a little bit more stricter with your take profit. If we're seeing, a higher time frame trending market, a lot of momentum, then of course you can push trades a little bit further in those conditions because there's a lot of momentum in a particular direction. But here it's just back and forth. So I would suggest being a little bit more conservative if you take profit. But if I was looking to trade euro pound, I'll be looking for some signs of reversal in this area. I'm looking for a break and retest and potentially some buys up to 0.865. So that would be the plan next week for euro pound. Okay, so next up we've got Aussie dollar. So I've been particularly bearish on this pair, looking for some selling opportunities. Nothing really shaped up. However, we have now reached some areas of some strong support in the higher time frames, and I'm looking to shift my buys because overall Aussie dollar is in a downtrend on the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. You can see the market still consistently placing in those lower highs. However, we did fail to reach back those prior swing lows with this attempt here, giving us actually a higher low over there. So the market is starting to exhaust, starting to tire. Potentially we could be looking at a reversal, but we need a bit more information before I start advocating for a reversal on Aussie dollar just yet. However, we are reaching some big levels of support, as we can see previously, a lot of rejection from these prices, and again, a big rejection over here as well. So as we approach these levels, I'm looking for some short, medium term buy opportunities back up again, and I'll discuss where I'm looking to take profit on those positions. But coming into these levels here, particularly 0.65800 and 0.65, just underneath 0.65, I'm looking for some long opportunities. So if I can start to see some bullish structure develop, some higher highs, higher lows, some equal lows, break of structure, I will be looking for some longs like this, or of course down here as well. If we can see something of this or of that like, I will be looking for opportunities to get long, because at these areas we've seen a lot of rejection. Although high time frames might still be bearish, now is not a sensible place to look to swing any short position. Of course, intraday you may find some opportunities on the lower time frames, but for me, looking to swing for a few days, potentially more than a week or two, it's not optimal to be shorting down at these prices, waiting for a bigger pullback. There may be some shorts close to 0.67, 68. Then we can be looking at some sells again. But at the moment, I'm kind of looking at this area here as a take profit level. Nice area on the full H time frame when we see price fluctuate quite a lot. As you can see previously, resistances, support quite well, held that consolidation until we had the breakout, so around 0.669, basically 0.67. So that's kind of how I'm looking to tackle Aussie dollar. I'm not expecting anything too crazy, but if I go into the daily time frame, you can see we're starting to become a little bit choppy, and quite frankly, all of this kind of can be deemed as consolidation. There is a slight downtrend to price, but overall we've been seeing a lot of fluctuation. Price hasn't really shown us much momentum at all. A lot of rejection of the same resistance. It's not really a healthy bearish trend at the end of the day. So looking for some buys next week for Aussie dollar as we approach these levels. Keep an eye on 0.658 and 0.65, waiting for price to give us those confirmations, and then looking for a push into 0.67 for next week. Okay, so over to NZD CAD. So things are looking interesting for this one. We've just had a breakout of the consolidation, been looking for the breakout pretty much since the year began, and finally we've got the breakout to the downside, and now I'm looking at potentially this longer term bearish trend continuing. Market still creating these lower lows and lower highs. We haven't broken through that major structural high yet, as we can see, so there's a good chance we could see a swing right back down to the lows. So for next week for NZD CAD, simply just looking for the retest of that consolidation. We left behind really strong support. I'm looking for us to come back and retest that. Let's see if we can have a bit of a breather, come back and retest that, and on that retest we can be looking for our entries. As long as we don't break back inside the consolidation, I'm looking at us having a nice swing to the downside. So potentially we could see a really big swing back to the lows. Again, do you want to hold your trade that far? That'll be up to you depending on your management and your risk reward, what you have in store. But for NZD CAD, I do see a potential swing back to the lows, but of course we do have some key areas here on the left which make perfect sense to be looking to take profit at. So that'll be up to you with your management. But in terms of the higher time frames, we are still bearish. Market hasn't broken through structure yet. We're breaking back below the consolidation with a lot of momentum as well. So it does look like the bears are back in control of things. So there's a good chance we will come back to the prior lows. But of course, depending how far you want to push the trade, that'll be up to you. So NZD CAD shorts look good. Let's see if we can get a retest at 0.828. and shorts back down to 0.80 will be the plan for next week. Okay, so over to pound NZD, so still looking for shorts. I did say I was looking for price to hold this level and then see some downside this week. Didn't quite see that. Market was quite bullish and broke through pretty aggressively, but the bearish buy still stands. We still have these lower highs being printed. You can see the bearish structure in play here. We've got the lower high, lower low, and again looking for a lower high at some area, as long as we don't take out the highs here. If we do that, then of course I'll fully back away from that bearish bias, but as long as those highs are still intact, I'm still looking for a move to the downside. The only issue right now is that there is no kind of real area of value that interests me to short, so I'm waiting for a bit more development to see if we can form some bearish structure, and a breaking retest of this area does interest me for some shorts. Let's see if we can get back underneath that area, start forming some lower lows and lower highs. We can place our stop loss above, and then we've got some clear shorts back down to the low. Risk reward looks pretty attractive there as well. So pound NZD, I'm still looking for that bearish move to the downside. Need some development. At the moment, price is still quite bullish, and again we could resume that momentum going into next week and go and take out the highs straight away. And of course the sells I'll be completely backing away from. But if you do start to see some struggling, markets start shifting bearish again in the lower time frames, I'll be more than happy to look for a break and retest of a lower high, of a low somewhere, looking to place my shorts and targeting the swing low. So that's still the bias and still the plan for pound NZD. Just need to see if we can get some bearish structure forming first. So yeah, let's see if we can get some sells back down to 2.005 next week. Okay, so for CAD Yen, everything's looking very bullish. I was talking about this mid-level here for CAD Yen this week. I was looking for some shorts if we can break back underneath 108 and then short. But as you can see, we actually used that as support, and price is looking pretty bullish right now for CAD Yen, and it looks like it is going back to the highs at 111. So for next week for CAD Yen, buys still look the best bet, at least back into 111. Of course, once we do get back there, we'll be back into some strong areas of resistance in the higher time frame. So you probably want to be backing away from the buying opportunities at that point once we do hit that level. But in the time being, if we can see a pullback, retest one of these prior swing highs, that is a fantastic place to look for some opportunities for the remainder of the week to try and anticipate another pullback and another swing to the upside, as that is what the market has been doing so perfectly since the start of the year pretty much. So we can get some pullbacks back into 109, 270, similar to dollar yen. Some buys back into 111 look very attractive, because at that point we've got pretty much all the time frames bullish, monthly, weekly, daily, everything's pointing to the upside, seeing momentum from the higher time frames and the lower time frames from a bullish standpoint. So the buys do look very good, and of course 111 looks like a sensible target to have as well. So for CAD Yen, you do want to see retracement, because of course we are seeing a lot of momentum right now, so there's a chance price will just push to the upside. Monday, Tuesday we'll be trading at 111, so there is a chance that we might not see that extra pullback, but of course that's the only feasible place, the only place that does make sense to look for some buys to attempt to swing the market higher. Any buys up here, you run the risk of buying straight into that resistance. So for CAD Yen, let's see if we can get one more pullback back into 111. I'll see what happens up there. There could be some sells back down again, but it's yet to be seen, similar to dollar yen. So keep an eye on 109.274 for some buys, and 111 looks like a nice destination for next week. Okay, so pound USD up next. Still consolidation for this pair, but I do still have that bearish bias intact. As we can see, if I just box off price action, we haven't really gone anywhere for a while now. And as I've been saying on my streams, as long as price is in this area, it's difficult to find quality opportunities. So what I'm still looking for is to see if we can get a break of the consolidation, some lower lows past these points there, really start to print some bearish structure, and then look for some retests and some pullbacks to short, similar to what we have with NZD CAD. Nice confident break of the consolidation. Now looking for pullbacks to retest the low of the consolidation, retest the support now term resistance. So retest this support now term resistance, and then we can look for ourselves in a much more high probability condition, a much more high probability setup, because at least At that point, we've either got a big fake out or the market is actually reversing. So probability is a lot greater. While shorting in here, there's a lot of just unexpected moves the market can do, and we can continue the consolidation for as long as the market wants to consolidate. So it's difficult to find some quality trades in those at these areas. But if we do break out, things get a lot more neater and a lot more simple to read. And in terms of targets, you've got a clear low over here. That is a sensible target to have, as we could easily bounce from that, reject up. I mean, risk reward might not be fantastic, but it makes sense. And I've also been pointing out this big daily level here at 1.245, which I'm still looking to see if we can get a pullback towards and then continue bullish. So I'm actually looking at buys once we get there for move back up again, but looking to see if I can get into some shorter medium term sells if we do catch a nice break and retest beforehand. So that's kind of the plan for pound USD. We're starting to print these lower highs potentially. You can see the market's getting quite tied in this bullish trend, so I do think eventually we're going to see a move down. But let's not jump the gun here. Let's wait for the conviction, and then we'll follow the momentum. So that's still the plan for pound USD. Shorts on the back of 1.262 and targets around 1.245 for next week. Okay, so over to pound CAD. So pound CAD, we were discussing this level here last week, 1.71, big level of resistance. We were discussing the fact that the market is printing these lower highs here ever so slightly, nothing major, but you can see every time we do push bullish, we don't quite come back and take out the prior high, and we actually form a low high. So the market is starting to tie, and overall the uptrend is very corrective as well. So it does add up. But we are forming these lower highs, struggling to break through 1.71, 1.715. Really strong bearish engulfing candle there on the daily chart. I am looking for a bearish swing back into the same level we came from the start of the year. So that is the plan for pound CAD. If you do start breaking through, that's when I'll scrap that buy, scrap that trade idea, and see what we do from there. Do we go take up the highs here? Do we form a big bullish swing? If that's the case, looking for pullbacks and follow that trend back up again. But at the moment, the market is failing really aggressively at 1.71, so I'm looking at another leg back down into the 1.68 area. So the way I'm looking at tackling this is sort of like a bit of a head and shoulder pattern. If we can come and take out these lows, that'd be fantastic. And then after, looking for a retest of an area of resistance to short back down again. So if I highlight this support area over there, you can see briefly resistance support, come back and retest that area, that'd be fantastic. Get a stop loss above the zone there and a push back down into the 1.68 area. You can see with the head and shoulder, left head and a possible right shoulder. That looks like a great setup there for pound CAD. So I am short biased for this one as long as we can hold that 1.715 area of resistance. I do see a move back down to the lows. We're seeing pretty strong aggressive reactions. You can see this big bullish candle here, but even for that momentum, we failed to break through. So it does look like the bears are successfully holding this area, meaning there's a good chance we're going to start to turn over. So yeah, keep an eye on 1.7, 1.71, 1.715 for some shorts, and targets back down at 1.683. Okay, so over to pound yen. So pound yen, big move to the upside. Again, another yen pair I was looking to sell this week. I was looking to see if we can get back below 184, but we failed to do that. The market kind of just shot bullish pretty early on the week, and we actually wicked through the highs there, created new highs. So you can see pound yen is a very tired market. We are forming higher highs and higher lows, as we can see. But again, every time we do sweep the high there, the market has a pretty exaggerated pullback, exaggerated correction, which is again playing to the idea that the yen pairs are starting to tire. Hence why I'm looking for a big counter trend move for these yen pairs. Pound yen is showing that in abundance. Again, every time we do take out the high, big move to the downside. Now again, just about taking out the high. Sooner or later, I do think we'll probably see another big move to the downside there as well. So I'm kind of gearing up for some selling opportunities, especially after we've taken out the high now. Of course, I'm not looking to jump straight in. Everything is still bullish. There's nothing really stopping us as well, pushing another 200, 300 pips to the upside as well before we do have a correction. So with these counter trend opportunities, it's important to stay on your toes and important to be a bit more conservative than aggressive, because everyone knows trend is your friend, and if the trend is still going up and if the trend wants to go up, you shorting it is not gonna turn things around. So need to be very careful from that perspective. But I'm looking for the market to start to take out some lows, give me some low lows and low highs to work with, and then I can start to play some shorts. At least at that point, I've got some structure I can base a stop loss from, and a structure which I'm looking to trade in favor of my direction. So I've got some lower lows and lower highs brewing up, and then I'm looking to take some shorts off the back of that. But as you can see, after we've taken the highs here, I'm looking for a reversal, whether it happens, as soon as the week starts, or whether we push up another 200 pips and then start doing it. I'll be up to pound yen. But I am looking for some counter trend opportunities back down into the same support level around 180. So that's the plan for pound yen, looking for some sales, keeping out for some counter trend opportunities. Not really interested in buys anymore. We've just taken out the highs here. Market's quite tired. We're approaching some big levels of supply on the higher time frames as well. So I don't really see any point for any swing buy opportunities. Of course, lower time frames, there still might be opportunities, and that makes perfect sense. But from a swing perspective, I'm looking for some counter trend opportunities. So this is what I'm looking at for pound yen next week. Okay, so over to gold. So gold was still trading at that infamous resistance 2060, 2050. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see big level resistance, big rejection, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, at these prices, although longer term I do see gold pushing higher, filling the wick 2150 and beyond. Do I want to sell a buy at these prices? No, it makes no sense for me from a technical reason to be looking to buy. Even if price is going to break through, or rather we actually do break through, and then I'll look for some pullbacks to retest it as support and then look for some buys. That makes a lot more sense to me. So for now, I'm still a bear for gold at these prices. We are forming some lower lows and lower highs at the moment. As you can see, a high over there, lower low, lower high, lower low. I'm looking for price. Oh, missed it. Looking for price to come back into this area. We've got some nice trendline confluence as well, and I'm looking for a move to the downside back into this area here at 1980. If the market does start flying next week and breaking through, of course, I'll definitely look to relax that bearish bias. And if you completely break through, then of course I will scrap that bearish bias altogether, because the only reason I'm bearish for now for gold is that we're at big level resistance, and again it's showing a lot of signs of rejection. So I do anticipate some more downside before pushing back up again, and coming back into this area there's a good chance of a lower high developing for another swing back to the downside, taking advantage of that higher time frame zone. And again, targets fairly sensible to be pushing it back to the low there. No need to try and push it to this low, but if you are looking for a slightly bigger risk rewards, this is an area you could also consider. 1980, but of course 2005 looks makes a lot of sense there as well. So bearish bias for gold next week. Keep an eye on 2040. If we can form a lower high in that area, it looks optimal, but of course our confirmations is what's going to invite us into the trade. So keep an eye on that area for gold next week, but looking for some shorts back down to 2005 and 1980. Okay, so for Bitcoin, we're still stuck in the consolidation as I've mapped out for the past few weeks now. We've had a big rejection of that 47, 48k area of resistance supply, where we saw all of this bearish momentum, bearish pressure come from. Market still struggling at those prices. So again, still anticipating this just to be a pullback for the market to find its feet again and continue higher. This for me is still the number one optimal place to go long from 34, 35k. Strong areas, you can see previously a lot of wicks into this area. If we come back through some more wicks into this area, I do think that is a great place for another higher low to form and look for the next swing to the upside. We could also have a deeper retracement, test 30k, these highs here. Still haven't had the retest of those levels, so that would be a great place to pick up some longs as well. Will we see a pullback that big? I don't know. It's on the cards. We are rejecting a pretty big area, so if you are going to see a pullback, of that kind of size, I would expect it to be from this area. If prices breaks through this area, then I think it's just a matter of time before we do get back to the highs, and probably won't be seeing much of a meaningful pullback until maybe we take out the highs there for Bitcoin. But at the moment, I am looking for that bigger pullback. You can see we're still resting the consolidation. Buys do make sense. Buys do make sense at these lows here for another move back up again, but I wouldn't look for anything too crazy since we are still rejecting that big area of resistance. So it would be nice if we can break the consolidation, maybe some short-term sells back down again, back into this area of support in the higher time frames, and then look to pick up some longs at a later date. So there could be some shorter term Some sell opportunities, again, shorter term. This is still a daily chart. It could still take a week or two to play out, but definitely does make sense. And then scaling up to the weekly time frame, there could be some nice long opportunities coming back into this area for some big swings if we were to see a pullback into 36, 35k, and you can probably look to stretch that back to highs, but of course depends how you want to manage that that setup. But yeah, for now, we're still in that consolidation, so waiting for price to break out. If we do break to the downside, as we said in the lower time frames, daily and beyond, daily and lower, there could be some sells back down again, and then looking to pick up the longs at a later date. So that remains the plan for Bitcoin going into next week. And last but not least, we've got a bonus pair, which is Pound CHF. So I'm really liking the price action for this one. This may have been the bonus pair maybe a few weeks ago. Now I've already seen a really comfortable pullback for this one back into a big level of support. Now term resistance, as you can see, this is what held the consolidation for quite a while. I think we were trading above this level for about nearly a year. Price just keeps rejecting it. We had a breakout at end of the year. Price came back above it, slightly retesting it. Now we'll come back into the same area as well. So if we are going to maintain this bearish momentum, this bearish structure of lower lows and lower highs, which we can see very clearly on the daily chart, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and again looking for the next lower high. As long as we don't go and break structure, which is this high here, as long as we don't take out this swing point at 1.11564, I'm looking at the market retesting this area and dropping back to the low, back to this daily support level near enough 1.06. You can see on the higher time frames, monthly, everything is bearish pointing down. Weekly, everything is bearish pointing down. So we've pretty much got synchronicity across all the time frames, from the highest down to the lowest. Everything, well, not really the lowest, down to like the daily, because intraday is kind of bullish at the moment. But on the higher time frames, everything's pointing down, which is a great confluence for your trade. So now we're just looking for the low time frames to agree with the higher time frames. And looking for some bearish structure to develop. At the moment, it's like price is consolidating a little bit. It'd be nice if you can break through that, maybe catch a retest of that consolidation and then drop, or if we can start printing some lower lows and lower highs as such and look for a retest of a level somewhere to then short to the downside. So this is what I'm looking for the lower time frames to do, 4H hourly, to start printing some bearish structure, which will make sense for me to actually start finding some entries, because again, I don't want to jump the gun and just start looking to short at the level, because price can still break through, of course, and reverse if it wants to. I want to see some evidence that we are starting to shift in structure. This bullish move here has died out. We're now bearish again, and then at that point is when I'm going to be looking for my trades. And again, the risk will probably still be fairly healthy, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6, 7, depending on the entry, could even be bigger than that as well. And those are great risk rewards if they do come into fruition. So looking for an opportunity like this for Pound CHF, really nice bearish structure coming into a big level, higher time frames agree. Now just looking for some confirmations to get short again. So that'll be the bonus pair for next week, and this one definitely will make my watch list. And again, if you do want to see my watch list for next week, check out my Telegram, which will be linked in the description below. But that does bring us to the end of the video, guys. About say bring us to the end of the stream, but this is not a stream. So hopefully you have found the video useful. Please let me know any pairs, anything you're interested in for next week in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It does help out the channel. Hit the bell as well so you don't miss any streams or uploads in the future. As I said, the link to my Telegram is in the description below, so be sure to check that out. But nonetheless, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next one.